Hi, everyone. It's Ajax here. Thanks for tuning into my news, weather, entertainment channel, giving you guys some of my UFC 322 fight predictions. It's happening today in New York City. This is the full card right here. It is one of the biggest cards I heard that we heard. Names you might recognize down here. The main card is Islam versus Jack D. I always get these names mixed up, so forgive me for that. But this is the main fights up here. You've also got the ladies up here, and you got these guys down here: Brady, Morales, Edwards, Leon Edwards, and you've got the French guy here, Saint Denis versus the Syrian guy, Dariush. But in any case, those are the top fights here. I'm going to give some projections on three of them, as I've been on a pretty good streak with these fights. So I'll give you some info coming up next. Here is some of the weigh-ins from this week. This is the main fighters here again. That's Islam versus Jack. That is a very, very high-profile fight, and I'll give you some info on that. But this is the weigh-in, the stare-in from, I believe, Thursday or Friday. And there you see the ladies right there. The tall blonde one versus, I think she's a Chinese fighter, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. There's Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. They're going to be going at each other as well. Sean Brady is an American, and Michael Morales is an Ecuadorian fighter. And there's Leon Edwards, who's fighting against Carlos Pradas. Carlos Pradas is a Brazilian, and Leon Edwards is of Jamaican descent from England. And the French guy here in the coat versus the Syrian guy here. So I'll give you some insights of what I think might happen coming up. Now, this is the main fight here again. See some of what they had to say during the conference.
You have from the crowd.
I love it, you know. I love this shit. This is the atmosphere I'm looking forward to. Saturday night. It's gonna be a good night.
Question for Islam.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I'll start with the crowd. You know, you've been asking to fight here at Madison Square Garden for a long time. You're looking to make history. You're obviously the fan favorite here. What do you make of your reception here at Madison Square Garden?
Well, become every day close to the fight. Very excited, you know. When I was in Australia, in course, the crowd support my opponent. Now in US and people support me. Thank you, guys. This is amazing.
So that's Islam here. He is a 27-1 UFC fighter. Or it's his mixed martial arts record. He is from Dagestan. He has been about the top fighter in the world for a while. And his opponent, though, is from Australia. The crowd there was all on Islam's side. A lot of people actually don't like Islam that much. They think he's kind of dry. He's kind of boring. But he is a beast out there and one of the most feared fighters. The other guy, Australian. And I'll give you some insights on these guys. Very close fight, I would say. Islam actually moved up from his weight class up to here to fight Magdalena. And there you can see the names right there. Jack Della Magdalena versus Islam. And you can see, I wanted to post this first. Rumors are coming out that Maikev's champ, that he hasn't been dealing well with cardio for this fight camp. And there seems to be worries of Islam gassing too early. Be on the lookout. So that's something to keep in mind. He had to move up, and he has had some cardio issues. So that is something to look out for. Originally, I was going to go with Islam as the favorite. He is the favorite, but I thought he was almost, not quite a sure bet. But now, because of the cardio issues, it's been cast into doubt. So at this point, it's going to be a very close fight, I think. We're going to watch. I'm watching it carefully for you here, and that is straight from Facebook. You can see that. And here are some of the bet odds, and these haven't changed much. This is from Bet US. You can see that Islam's still a heavy favorite. On the women's side, you've got Shvenko as a slight favorite. Brady Morales. You can see the odds here. I don't have a good feeling about that fight. I think it's very close, so I'm not projecting on that one. I will give you a projection on the Edwards-Prates fight. You can see Edwards is a slight underdog there. And down towards Dariush versus Saint Denis. Those guys, you can see the French fighter Saint Denis is the favorite for that one. So I'll give you a little more analysis coming up next on what I think and also my actual projections for the fights later today. And as I mentioned, I've had a pretty good track record with these, so this is why I wanted to share it. Real quick, for Benoit Saint-Denis, the French fighter, uh, you can see he's 15-3. He's a pretty good fighter. His opponents, he lost to Dustin Poirier. I remember that fight last year. You can see his last two fighters haven't been particularly elite. I think he's he's a good fighter, but he has to stay on. Now this is Leon Edwards, the Leon Edwards fight. This one I can give more insight. Edwards was really on a tear. He beat Nate Diaz. He beat Kamaru Usman twice. And then he beat Colby Covington, and that was the bittersweet one. If you remember that fight, that was right here in Vegas in December, and I went to that conference. Now the last two fights though, he lost to the Palestinian Muhammad, and he lost to Sean Brady. So it appears as if he might be on a bit of a downward, a bit of a decline. We're going to see how it goes. And there's Carlos Plays. That's his opponent. He has done really well. 22 wins now. His last loss earlier this year was against Ian Machado Gary, a really young and very energetic fighter, very tough fighter. And his last fight, he won. So he is on a bit of a tear there, aside from that one loss. And then Jack Della Maddalena, who is the main fight against Islam, there are his numbers. He has 18 wins. He hasn't lost in quite a while. He beat Bilal Muhammad. He beat Gilbert Burns, who's kind of a declining fighter. Kevin Holland, he's a pretty good fighter. So it's going to be real interesting to see how it comes up. Again, I thought Islam was going to be the one in this fight. So I think it's very close. So here are my projections here. I'm going to go with Della Maddalena against Islam because of the concerns about cardio here. But it's very close. And again, Islam has been absolutely phenomenal. He might be hitting a brick wall here, but I'm going to give it a slight edge to Della Maddalena. I don't know about these two fights here, but the Edwards-Prates fight, I'm going with Prates in that fight because I think Edwards is on a decline. All right, he's lost 2 in a row, remember. So I go towards Carlos Prates. And also in this fight, the Syrian fighter versus Saint-Denis, I'm going to go with the French fighter. That's kind of close too. The Syrian fight, Dariush is about 36. So he's older. Saint-Denis is 29. So he's right in his prime. If he can keep that going, I think he has this. And that's my projections for UFC 322. So if you're in New York, enjoy the fights. It's one of the top fights out here, and it's gonna be real fascinating to see who wins. So good luck, everybody, if you're betting.